Hey. Oh, wait.
Yeah, that felt weird.
Yeah, no, that feels so weird. Everything feels weird on this channel. So today we are lighting this arcade, retro arcade setup scene because we got access to this arcade machine. Now, we've got a lot of color going on here, but there's one caveat in this lighting tutorial, and it's that we are using a $10 camera, and it's a Sony DSC TX1 with a Promise 1.4 gaff taped onto the front of it, because why not? I know this isn't realistic per se to have all of these lights and then shoot it on a $10 camera. So yes, there is a little bit of fun going into it, but it's also to show the importance of lighting. And ultimately I've been recovering and a little bored and just wanted to play around to see what we could get out of this thing with a nice lighting setup. I'll be honest, I've used it once. I have no idea how this is gonna come out, but you know, I guess we'll see at the same time, and let's just hope that it looks good. So let's go ahead and dive into the lighting setup and how we got this vintage look. I know the first light that I want to set up here, and I don't really know the look I'm going for. I'm just going to kind of wing it light by light because it's a fun way to do it. But first light I'm going to set up is this overhead key light, which is an Amaran F22C. And I know that as Alan is going to be standing here, I think I just want like this controlled spill of light. I don't know if I want it to be cool or like a warm tungsten, but I want it coming down on him here. So that's where I'm going to start from. Okay, this is top-notch stuff right here. I can barely see the monitor, but I like how we're getting light on Alan's head and his body, but the whole wall, since it's white, it's taking to everything. So first thing I know I want to do is take a grid and isolate that. So by taking the grid, the light beam is just going to be right here. And then once we get that in, the scene's going to be a lot darker, and we're going to add in some more colors and really make this retro and vintage like our plan was to go for. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I think what we're going to do, because there's this hot spot that's right there, I want to move the light. Keep coming, I'll tell you when to stop. Yeah, that could be cool. How's that look? A little bit darker on that at least. I think it's not too bad. This is tough, man. Shooting on a $10 camera, I can't even see. Okay, let's add in some color. I want some sort of color in here, like kind of bouncing in off the screen essentially. So I'm gonna take this Aperture MT Pro tube. I don't know if I wanna switch it to red or green or whatever. I'm just kind of gonna break the rules and not match what's on the screen. But right now, my theory is it's gonna come up and kind of make like a silhouette around Alan as he's there. We've got the key light that's right there, and then we've got that red light that's in there, and it's making kind of a cool, exactly what I was hoping for in there. But there's a lot of black space all around the entire frame, and that's what I wanna work with. I'm just gonna take some tube lights and see what light we can kind of paint in where, and just play around and look at the monitor and see what we've got to work with. Honestly, for right now, I'm just gonna stick this somewhere just to see what it's doing. When I'm shooting, sometimes I don't know where exactly I want the lights or what I want. I've kind of got creative freedom. Sometimes I'll just throw lights up, move it around, and even moving the direction of your light can change like the shadow detail and the direction of the light and dramatically change the look of it. Let's just set that there for the time being. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, okay, it's getting somewhere. But I'd love for, you think this would work? You want to do me a favor, Alan, and just hold that with your hand for a second? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm doing it. I was looking at it and I'm like, okay, this looks like crap. And not because it's a $10 camera, because the lighting just looked kind of flat. But I was like, what if I take a tube light and actually add in like a practical? You see a lot of like neon signs and stuff like that in arcades like this in the 80s and 90s. So I was thinking that if I just put a tube up here, I wanted to see what it looked like. I experimented with it, I like it. So I'm gonna rig it up just with some gaff tape. And I'm gonna take off the battery and instead just hardwire it into the wall, because I don't want the battery in it because the practical is exposed. So right now, I'm kind of impressed. It looks pretty sweet, at least on this monitor. It needs something over here on the frame left. Sometimes when I'm looking at the shot and it looks flat and it looks bland and just like not a lot of pizzazz to it, I always just try to add like pops of light for texture, either hard light to create, you know, shadows or anything like that. So I'm just gonna play around, and I think we've got an idea. So I was like, you know what, it's this arcade, it's kind of grungy, it's weird. So I was like, let's just grab like a t-shirt and a coat hanger and, well, something like that. And I just put this over on top of it just to create this warm ambient glow, because if it was just a source, it'd be really bright, the attention would be taken away from that. So I covered it up with just a white t-shirt that we grabbed from the closet, and there we go. Now, my methodology with all of this is that I created a bunch of pools of light. We started with the key light. I didn't like it at all. I knew there was a lot of negative dead space throughout the scene. So then I started to add in pops and pools of color. Now, regardless whether it's a $10 camera or you're shooting on an Arri Alexa, you still want to light your scene well. So we got good news and we got bad news. Good news, it's starting to look pretty cool. I'm happy with it. We're ready to roll. Bad news, the camera died. All right, so breaking down the lights one by one, I'm gonna turn all of these off on Sidus Link, and then we're gonna go one by one. So the first light that we added was this top light here, this key light, the F22, and that's just, right overhead, and I've got that set to a 5600 Kelvin, just daylight. And then the next light I wanted to add here was just a glow going on in here. So I took an MT tube and just set that to a nice green color as well. Now I wanted to start to integrate some of the neon light influences that you'll see in some of these retro arcades. So I put a T2C tube up here at a nice lovely little pink, and I just had that gaff tape up there, nothing crazy, just to add a nice little glow, and it looked great with the Pro Mist that was on the camera as well. Now moving forward, this machine looked great, but the rest of the scene was just kind of falling off to black. So I added 2 more lights in here back behind everything here. So I've got some blue T4C tubes kind of spilling on each side, and I had those set to like a 200-degree hue. And that just adds this nice little gradient or vignette around the back of the machine. Now, moving forward, I added in this light over here because on frame left, it was still pretty dark. So I added in just a B7C on this bulb, and I set a t-shirt over it because the lampshade I didn't like, it was cheetah, and I was like, well, let's go crazy. I put this white t-shirt over a coat hanger, and there we go, and I think it looks kind of cool and kind of fits the vibe. And then the last light that we added here was 1 more T2C tube, and that was just upright on this table right there, casting a nice pink gradient. So this pink kind of fades into the blue here, creating another pool of light. All right, so again, I know it's not realistic to be making this whole extravagant lighting setup for just a $10 camera with Pro Mist gaff taped on the front of it. A lot of it is just for fun, but hey, I was just trying to, make the most of my healing process here. But that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys liked it. I'm gonna, head out of here. Stay safe, stay happy, and don't break your arm snowboarding. Stay inside. It's safe, and that's all. Okay, bye-bye. See ya.